The day they took away Michael Carter's garage began with the sound of chains. Not the chains of a criminal being led away. Not the chains of a prison gate closing. These were the cold steel chains wrapped around the doors of the only thing Michael had left in the world. As the heavy lock snapped shut, he stood silently across the street with grease-stained hands and a broken heart, watching strangers claim the small repair shop he had spent 18 years building with sweat, sacrifice, and endless nights of hard work. His 12-year-old daughter Emma stood beside him, clutching his arm. The faded sign that read, "Carter Auto Repair," swung gently in the wind for what might be the last time. Michael had survived losing his wife to cancer 5 years earlier. He had survived raising Emma alone. He had survived sleepless nights, unpaid bills, and economic downturns that destroyed larger businesses. But standing there that morning, watching the bank's representative seize everything he owned, felt different. This felt like the end. Before we continue, if you believe kindness still matters, if you believe people deserve second chances, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs inspiration today, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these powerful stories reach more people around the world. Michael never imagined his life would reach this point. Years earlier, his garage had been one of the most trusted repair shops in the county. Customers drove from neighboring towns because they knew Michael treated every vehicle like it belonged to family. He was never the cheapest mechanic. He was simply the most honest. When customers couldn't afford repairs, he found creative solutions. When single mothers came in worried about transportation, he sometimes fixed their cars for free. When elderly customers needed help, he often refused payment entirely. His business wasn't built on profit. It was built on trust. And trust kept the lights on for many years. Then tragedy arrived. When his wife Sarah was diagnosed with cancer, everything changed. Medical bills multiplied faster than income. Savings disappeared. Loans accumulated. The garage remained open, but Michael spent more time at hospitals than under vehicle hoods. For 2 exhausting years he fought beside Sarah. And then he lost. The day she died, Michael promised himself he would never let Emma feel alone. That promise became his entire purpose. Every morning he made breakfast before school. Every evening he helped with homework. Every night he worked late at the garage trying to keep their small world together. But life has a way of testing even the strongest people. A national corporation purchased the local bank that held his business loan. The new owners didn't care about history. They didn't care about loyalty. They cared about numbers. 1 missed payment became 2. 2 became 4. Then came the notices. Then the warnings. Then the final letter. Michael tried everything. He worked weekends. He sold personal belongings. He took on additional jobs. Still, the debt grew faster than he could pay it. And eventually, the corporation decided they wanted the property more than they wanted patience. Now the garage was gone. The place where Emma had spent afternoons doing homework. The place where Michael had taught her how engines worked. The place that carried memories of Sarah laughing as she brought lunch during busy days. Gone. For several weeks, Michael searched desperately for work. He applied everywhere. Large repair chains. Dealerships. Manufacturing plants. Fleet maintenance companies. Most never called back. Some offered wages too low to support a family. Others said he was overqualified. Rejection became a daily routine. Still, he refused to quit. Because quitting would mean breaking the promise he made to Sarah. One rainy afternoon, while working temporary maintenance at a warehouse, Michael noticed a crowd gathering near the loading area. Several expensive vehicles surrounded something enormous. Workers looked frustrated. Managers looked panicked. Security personnel rushed around making phone calls. Curious, Michael walked closer. What he saw immediately caught his attention. Parked in the center of the lot was one of the most advanced armored transport trucks ever built. The vehicle was valued at nearly $2 million. It belonged to Titan Secure Logistics, one of the largest armored transportation companies in the region. And it wasn't moving. Apparently, the truck had suffered a complete systems failure. Engine diagnostics showed no clear problem. Electronic systems were malfunctioning. Multiple technicians had already examined it. Nobody could identify the cause. The situation was becoming expensive. Every hour the truck remained inactive cost the company thousands of dollars. Specialists were flown in. Engineers connected computers. Experts reviewed data. Nothing worked. Michael watched from a distance. Something felt familiar. The symptoms reminded him of a problem he had seen years ago involving a custom security vehicle. As he listened carefully, he realized everyone was focused on software. Nobody was paying attention to a small mechanical component hidden beneath several protective panels. He hesitated. After all, he was just a temporary worker. Nobody had asked for his opinion. Nobody knew who he was. But then he remembered something Sarah used to say. The right thing doesn't become wrong simply because nobody is listening. So he approached cautiously. A few people ignored him. Others laughed when they learned he was a mechanic from a now-closed neighborhood garage. The contrast seemed almost comical. A struggling single father offering advice to teams of highly paid specialists. Still, desperation has a way of opening doors pride keeps closed. Eventually, one manager allowed him a quick look. Michael knelt beside the armored truck. Rain dripped from the edges of the vehicle. He examined several components. Then he smiled slightly. The problem wasn't complicated. It was simply hidden. A tiny connector deep within the system had loosened due to repeated vibration. The fault created cascading electronic errors that made the truck appear catastrophically damaged. In reality, the solution required less than a minute. Michael reached carefully into the compartment. Adjusted the connector. Secured it properly. Then stepped back. The manager looked skeptical. Several engineers exchanged amused glances. The ignition sequence began. For a brief moment, nothing happened. Then lights illuminated across the dashboard. Diagnostic warnings disappeared. The massive engine roared to life. Silence swept across the parking lot. The kind of silence that follows disbelief. Dozens of people stared at the truck. Managers checked screens repeatedly. Engineers reviewed diagnostics. Everything was functioning perfectly. After days of failure and countless dollars spent, the $2 million armored vehicle was operating normally. Because of a repair that took less than 60 seconds. The same people who dismissed Michael minutes earlier now surrounded him with questions. How did he find it? How did he know? Why hadn't anyone else noticed? Michael simply shrugged. Years of experience had taught him something technology often forgets. Sometimes the biggest failures come from the smallest overlooked details. Word spread quickly throughout the company. Senior executives arrived. Reports were filed. Managers investigated the incident. And that's when something remarkable happened. One executive recognized Michael's name. Years earlier, he had been a customer at Carter Auto Repair. He remembered the honesty. The skill. The reputation. Most importantly, he remembered something else. Michael had once repaired his family's vehicle late at night and refused additional payment because the executive's wife was pregnant and needed reliable transportation. A kindness given years ago. A kindness Michael had completely forgotten. But the executive hadn't. Within days, Titan Secure Logistics offered Michael a position. Not as a mechanic. As a senior technical consultant responsible for diagnosing complex fleet issues across the company's operations. The salary exceeded anything he had earned before. The benefits provided security for Emma. For the first time in years, the future looked brighter. Yet the most emotional moment arrived several months later. The property that once housed Carter Auto Repair had remained vacant after repossession. The corporation that seized it struggled to sell the location. Maintenance costs increased. Interest rates changed. Market conditions shifted. The investment they expected to profit from became a burden. Meanwhile, Michael's career flourished. His expertise saved the company millions. His reputation grew. And eventually, he received an opportunity he never imagined. When the property finally returned to market at a reduced price, Michael made an offer. This time, he wasn't borrowing desperately. This time, he wasn't fighting alone. This time, he had stability. Weeks later, he stood in front of the building once again. The same building. The same doors. The same sign. Only now, the keys belonged to him. Emma stood beside him, tears shining in her eyes. The garage wasn't just a business. It was proof that losing something doesn't mean losing everything. Some chapters end so better ones can begin. Before we reach the ending, I have one special request. Comment below with the words, "Never give up." Let's fill the comments with encouragement for anyone facing difficult times right now. On reopening day, neighbors gathered to celebrate. Former customers returned. Old friends stopped by. Many remembered the day the garage was taken away. Now they witnessed something even more powerful. Its return. Michael looked around at the crowd. At the repaired building. At the daughter who had stood beside him through every hardship. And he finally understood something life had been teaching him all along. Success isn't measured by what you keep. It's measured by what you rebuild after losing everything. The corporation that repossessed his garage saw only debt. The engineers who dismissed him saw only an ordinary mechanic. The world saw a struggling single father. But character often hides where nobody thinks to look. And sometimes the person standing quietly in the background is the one capable of solving the problem nobody else can fix. As the sun set behind the garage that evening, Michael unlocked the doors one final time and switched on the lights. The warm glow spilled across the parking lot. It looked almost exactly as it had years before. Except now it meant something deeper. It represented resilience. Faith. Second chances. And the extraordinary truth that kindness is never wasted, even when it seems forgotten. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, leave a comment, share it with friends and family, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps spread stories of hope and reminds people everywhere that difficult seasons do not last forever. Because sometimes life takes away the very thing you love most. And sometimes, when you least expect it, life gives it back stronger than before. And that is exactly what happened to a single father whose garage was taken away, only to discover that his greatest loss was leading him toward his greatest victory.